We're in Waldo County. Well, if you haven't been reading the newspapers and things, you might not be aware that the Belfast Co-op is celebrating its 40th anniversary. And I thought I would do a program about it because I actually predate the co-op. And there's this one person that I remember for many years was like very much involved with the co-op, and I thought I would start the program out by talking to him, and that is Gary Skigen. Gary just recently retired as being the director of BCOP, but prior to that, for many years, Gary, you were the manager of the co-op. Tell me when you first got involved. Were you involved with the co-op before you became its manager?
Well, I was living in Orland, and I came down to shop periodically because I was eating that way, and saw the store, thought it was interesting, like Waldo County. And John Bunker was one of the fellows working in the original store with Anna Dow and Suzette Gilbert, some other folks, and John was leaving to do other things, and they asked me if I wanted to co-manage, and so I moved down to Waldo County and started working with Anna, and then Tori Hatch came in, and Marie Gigi came in a little later through a continuing education program. And so we were in that location, I think it was 16 Main Street, across from Weaver's Bakery. We had about 800 square feet. And
Weaver's Bakery, which also does not exist anymore,
Weaver's
but
Bakery
it's in the building that is now Catwalk. Is that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so when was that?
That was these dates. You know, they're a little elusive, but this was the late 70s.
Late 70s.
Late. You know,
And
towards
so-
the end of the 70s.
And so, how long were you in that building and ballpark? I mean, and then how did you guys decide to go to where was the next place you went to?
Well, as I said, there was about 800 square feet.
Yeah.
It started, obviously, or if you don't know, it started with a group of people, different age, different backgrounds, who wanted a pre-order co-op. People kept walking in the door saying, what's going on, and they saw there was enough interest, so they started the storefront. And then when I was there, it started to get crowded. We were doing good business, and we felt like we should move. We wanted to expand our product lines. We wanted to carry more of what customers were asking us for. So we took a look down Main Street to what I think had formerly been the Hatch Candy and Stationery Company, and that was right next to Home Supply, where the Green Store is now.
Okay.
So we moved. I was just going to say, we moved like by hand. So like people like you and me, we were pushing coolers down Main Street, seriously. So those pictures are on file, I think, with the Republican Journal. There's pictures of us using rollers moving coolers down the street.
So in those days, did people still, you know, as part of being a member, work there, or when did that change?
No, I mean, I was, after we moved, after Anna and Tori left, and we went to a general manager position, which was mine. I was there almost, well, over 20 years, all moves from that one to Lower Main, and then from Lower Main over here where we currently are. And we had a volunteer program the whole time. That wasn't changed.
Okay.
We still had people working in the store, you know, helping, packing.
So that existed even when you finally retired from here, which was when?
Around 99. I went to BCOP, yeah, 99.
So when I think about the co-op and the size of the membership and things like that, and the size of the staff, how many people, when you first started working there, worked full-time at the store, you know, ballpark, give or take? 3? In
the original 16 Main Street location, there were 3 of us for the most part, but we had a lot of volunteers. And then in the second location, we probably had 8 to a dozen, you know, off and on.
Yeah.
A lot of people that came to that store stayed with us, even to this store. I think Rainey Cross is still here from that store. Marie is still here. And so, and then we went from that number to this location, and I mean, in the summer we blew up to, like, at the time I was here, to 40, 50 people in the summer. Now I think they're up to, I don't know, 60 or more, I don't know.
Sure. So when I think about, like, the co-op it's grown and it made some rather spectacular changes. I mean, one of the things that I now really appreciate about the co-op is that it has like a cafe associated with it. So it seems to be as much a place where people come to gather to meet as well as just to buy things. When those decisions were made, like, was it like, did you guys have a brainstorming session, or how did decisions about the innovations and changes get made? Was it all just membership? Was it an agonizingly slow process, or did you guys come up with ideas and present it to the members? How did that all happen?
All right. Well, at this point in life, I feel a little more comfortable saying that, there's different ways to run businesses. And you may get a great team, and so if you have co-managers and everybody's on the same page, decisions get made pretty quickly. You're supposed to be representing your membership. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have some positives and some negatives. When I was operating the store, I would talk to my staff. I would talk to people who shopped in the store, and I said, what do you think of this? What do you think is necessary? When we moved to the second location, I felt like we needed to expand into coffee, beer, wine. There were people who felt that was inappropriate and it didn't represent the co-op as they knew it, and I think they had a point. I was just thinking economically as well as necessity of what the majority of the customers wanted. We should do it. So I said to everybody, I think we better do this, otherwise we're going to not have a place in town for long, because we can't stay in business even though we're a co-op. So the board of directors agreed to that, and it seemed to be successful. The staff felt like it was a good decision, and so most decisions were made pretty quickly, except like in the case of buying a building. That was a lot of time and effort, a lot of conversation.
Right, and you probably figured you were taking a chance at that point, right?
When I look back at it, I it's like a lot of things. I'm not quite sure if I really knew, what I was getting into, because the numbers got bigger and bigger. I just think that, for me, it was obvious to me that this community was supporting the store at that time. There were people who didn't, feel this was right or that was right, but for the most part, because we stayed alive in a very difficult economy at that time, we must have been providing a service that was desired. So, we just kind of took a chance, I guess. Mm-hmm. Look, when I look at the store now, yeah, and I see the aisles, right, like if I showed you the design, it's like elementary school stuff. I just did a blueprint and moved things around and showed it to the staff. I said, what do you think? But and we built the store with members, and we hired people from the community who we knew and were members to work in the store. May some of them rest in peace. Some of them are gone now, and they were vital to changing the store around and making it what it is. But like the shelving, that was crazy. I should never. It's like walking down alleys, and I don't know why I thought that would work, but it still seems to be functioning. But
right. It must feel good for you to see the co-op still around, from that many years later. Do you still go there on occasion?
Well, I mean, to be honest, when I first left, and I had been with a lot of the staff for years, it was confusing to come and shop because, I needed to separate myself for everybody's good health and for my sanity trying to shop. So my wife shops here. When I shop at Hannaford, okay. I go to Hannaford. But it doesn't matter anymore because now I run into co-op members and B-Coop students and their kids up at Hannaford. So, no, it's like I can't really get the perspective like other people may have of it and what we accomplished, but I certainly am really, really happy for everybody that it's still here, yeah, and it's part of Belfast because it's a great thing to have. And I know people tell me all the time that they moved to this small city in part because the co-op is here, which is pretty cool, if you want people moving here.
Right. All right, so I've been speaking with Gary Skigen, the long time manager of the co-op, even though he hasn't been the manager for at least 10 years now. But for many of us, we think of Gary when we think of the co-op. So next we'll go in and talk to the new manager. Well, I'm pleased to be at the co-op with Doug Johnson, the manager. And Doug, 40 years, you've come a long way. A lot has changed from 40 years ago.
It's true, yeah. We're in quite a different place than we were 40 years ago. A lot of co-ops in the country, including ours, started off in the 1970s and started off out of buying clubs, and now we're an $8 million a year organization that is able to do a lot of really good things in the community. So, yeah.
Yes, for Belfast Community TV, I'd like to just thank you because we were part of the. It was used to call the Roundup, but that
Common Sense.
Roundup had connotations of not very good herbicides. So
Indeed.
Common Sense, and you were our single greatest benefactor to date, except for
awesome.
grants that we've gotten. Now, when I was actually around when the co-op got started, and back then, if you went to Hannaford, there were no organic foods available. So the landscape of where you can get food, like one of the reasons we wanted it was so that we could get wonderful, good, whole foods. And now there seems to be more options. Has that proven to be like you have competition now?
Absolutely. That's one of the biggest things that on the national level, that's what co-ops are dealing with. So we're part of a national cooperative group that's made up of 148 other co-ops throughout the country. And on the national scale, it's the conversation that we're having about the changing competitive landscape of co-ops and how we used to be very unique, and we could sort of rest on our laurels that we were the place where people could go to find things. And now that the market is changing, we have to change the way that we do what we do. And so the conversation becomes, what do we offer that other people can't? That's our commitment to our local vendors, to our local farmers, to our local suppliers, and our customer service. You're going to, when you come into a co-op, you're going to be treated differently than you're going to be treated anywhere else in town and across the country. That's where co-ops are making the distinction right now.
Yeah, and when I think of the food landscape, back then there were, 40 years ago, there were, some of us sort of back to the landers that really wanted the organic. But as a whole, the consciousness about local food was not nearly what it is today. In many ways, what people want is what, it's almost like the co-op over the 40 years has educated the world.
Yeah.
And now there's, probably a greater demand for what the kinds of things that the co-op offers.
Absolutely. And that's the funny discussion that we've been having. We won. Right, so this is the food economy that we wanted. This is the food economy that co-op people have been working on for, since our inception, and we won. We've changed the way that people think about food, the way they think about local food, the way they think about organic food, and now everybody else is getting on board because they see that this is what people want from their food supply, and so that makes it more difficult for us because when we were the only ones fighting this fight, it was easy. It was easy for us to have double-digit sales growth every year and to make all those changes in the economy. But now that everybody else is getting on board, when you have Walmart getting on board and Kroger's getting on board and Hannaford getting on board, it makes it really harder for the local co-ops to do the good things that they're able to do when they're really prosperous.
So over the 40 years, has the membership gone steadily upward? Has it plateaued and gone down? Tell me a little bit about the numbers of people being members of the co-op.
Sure. I mean, it's definitely every year, year over year, we have seen considerable growth in our membership, and I think that's really a testament to the Belfast community and how committed people are to their co-op. I think the thing that we really need to be focusing on, and the thing that we as an organization need to be working on, is making membership attractive for our community. Because when you boil down what a cooperative is, and you boil down what we're doing here, we're talking about ownership, right? And we're talking about people in the community owning the organization that they go to meet their needs, that they go to buy the food, to feed their family. And that's a huge thing. It's a revolutionary thing. So yeah, I would say our membership has steadily grown, and I would, if I have any power in it, I would like to see us grow our membership greatly in the next 5-10 years. Yeah.
So I guess I would like to understand the idea of membership, because for many years, I had a very low number, and then I sort of let it lapse, and then I just didn't continue, and then I was saying, so why do I need to be a member anyway? I mean, it seems to me like I get all the benefits of well, I don't know, what are the benefits of being a member of the co-op?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so essentially there's two different ways to look at membership, right? So there's your tangibles and your intangibles, right? So the tangibles, we do member pricing on a number of items throughout the store. We have a Member Plus sales program that is just for members. It's equal as far as the number of items every 2 weeks to our co-op deals, which is sale prices for everyone. We also offer discounts on case orders, special discounts for members. Sort of the bigger picture, like the one that I think that we haven't done historically to really sell membership, are the intangibles, right? So you're talking about being a partial owner in an organization. That's a huge thing. That's something you're never going to get at a Hannaford. You're never going to get at Shaw's. Like shareholders at Hannaford or Shaw's are, 12 or 15 people overseas somewhere, or who don't really have an investment in what they're doing, or an investment in the quality of the services that they're providing beyond a monetary one. Whereas as a co-op member, you are an owner in the cooperative. You have every bit as much of a voice as any other member of the co-op. When it comes time to do board elections, when it comes to do bylaw changes, your voice is as important as anybody else's. It's one member, one vote, and it's pure representative democracy. In that so we have 3,900 members, and out of those 3,900 members, we choose a board of directors, and anybody can run. Anybody who's a member of the co-op, they can run for the board of directors. And then those people are elected by the membership. That's representative democracy. You're choosing people to stand for you. That person, that group of people decides who they want to be the general manager. That general manager then chooses who, manages the operations. Like, it's this big thing that once you start wrapping your head around what it actually means to partially own this organization, it's a pretty big deal. It's a revolutionary concept.
So how much does it cost to be a member these days?
So right now, a member equity share is $60. So we understand, especially at the finance level, we've been talking about how over the years the membership has changed a lot. And the equity investment has changed, and the contribution has changed, and it's just, there were times when the way we were doing things didn't make a lot of sense. So we're trying to tighten that up. Right now, currently, it's a $60 equity share, and then on the 4th year of your membership, there are annual fees.
So $60 you don't have to pay $60 every year?
No, it's $60 one time. That's your equity share. That's your investment in the co-op. On the 4th year of your membership, so if you're a member for 4 years, you'll start paying annual fees, which right now are $15 a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for someone who could care less about feeling like I want to manage the store or have any say, I'm happy just shopping here.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, I really love having the co-op in town.
Yeah.
So, but it makes a difference to keeping the co-op alive, to have members, I would consider it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, that's the other great thing about cooperative ownership, that there are so many different levels of how involved people can be in the cooperative. I mean, there's this 4-tiered thing that we go through sometimes where we're talking about own, use, serve, belong, and those are the four ways that you can break down membership. So you can, you're an owner, and you can own that and be an owner and get in here and get as involved as you want. You can use the co-op as people who just come in to buy their coffee, as long as they're contributing to the co-op. I mean, they're using it and they're contributing, and that's awesome. To serve, I mean, people who go out for the board of directors, people who go out for employment here, that's another way to serve. or just belonging, just being a part of the community and talking about the co-op and keeping those good feelings about co-ops going. That's another way that you can contribute to your co-op.
Speaking of that, I remember in the early years, there was, I think you had to work a certain amount of hours, or at least there was maybe there was a benefit. You didn't have to pay as much if you were a working member. How come that doesn't exist anymore?
So it's a weird, Maine state laws are kind of funny about cooperatives. A number of years ago, the board of directors and via the membership decided that they did not want to continue the working owner program. The way that the law has been interpreted by the board of directors since and by the management is that once you drop that program, you can't bring it back up. And there's a lot of things that have to do with labor laws and about paying or doing volunteer work for what you used to pay people to do. So there are a lot of moving pieces in that we are still trying to figure out. A lot of co-ops in the country, because of the way labor laws are dropping their member contribution programs or their worker owner programs. That said, we're also exploring the options as far as taking that in a place where it hasn't gone before. So maybe we have a worker member program that just does things in the community that isn't necessarily doing operations things in the store, not stocking shelves or ringing out customers, but could be out in the community doing cleanup or be out in the community just spreading the good word about co-ops. So, I mean, there's a lot of wiggle room, I think, and there's definitely enough of us on staff who are committed to that idea of working owners. And I mean, it's one of the ways, I think that the buy-in that co-ops get when they have those worker member programs is a lot greater than the way that we're currently running. Yeah.
So you mentioned that as time changed, co-ops need to change.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're looking at? Because to me, the co-op seems very much like it was 10 years ago, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, and which I love. But what are some of the changes you're thinking about making to, deal with the fact that right down the street there may be this new farmers marketplace opening up, which I imagine you must be looking upon as competition.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that the thing about having a changing competitive landscape is that you start to notice the things that you are not doing well that your competitors are doing well. So, I mean, the first time anybody walks into a Whole Foods, right? So there's the closest Whole Foods to us right now is in Portland, but you walk into that Portland Whole Foods, and they've created a feel, right? And that feel is healthy and interesting, and it makes people want to buy items, right? So some of the places where I feel like we've neglected in the past, our operations, a lot of things about our operations are inefficient, and we have so many team members right now who are working on trying to make just the simple act of taking groceries and putting them on the shelf so people can take them away and purchase them. Just that simple exchange there, working on making that more efficient. Telling our story. Like one of the things that we have done recently is our farmer profiles that we've started putting up around the store. That's a huge thing. Just giving people a face to connect to the people that grow their carrots, the people that that harvest their honey, things like that. Like being able to tell that story and tell our part in that story is something that we haven't been doing very well lately, but it's something that we're all committed to doing in the years to come.
But I'm thinking of like new ideas that you want to, this is just doing what you're doing better.
Sure.
What do you think? Are you thinking of like, for instance, I subscribed to Blue Apron at one time, where you get like a certain amount of food given to you, and then it's provided with the recipes. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if I could do that with like a local version of it, where I could get a package of local meat and local stuff with the local farms. That's sort of that may not be practical, but I'm wondering, like, other, like having a division where you are able to borrow tools for your, it's not even food. I mean, I'm just wondering, are there any, new ideas that you're thinking of doing?
Sure. I mean, I think that so at the ground level, right, we need to do what we have been doing as good as we can possibly do it. Okay. So we need to be the best cooperative grocer that we can be right now. In the future, 5 years away, 10 years away, it's wide open. We can be the fun thing about cooperatives is that anything can be a cooperative, right? So you have housing co-ops, you have laundry co-ops, you have anything can be a cooperatively owned business. So there's nothing but opportunity for this co-op to take its operations in any direction that we decide that we want to take them in. And ultimately, it's up to the member owners to say what they want from us, right? We're at the mercy of our member owners. So, yeah, I think it's a really exciting time for co-ops because I think that there are enough, in collaborating with other co-ops throughout the country as part of our cooperative group and collaborating with the other co-ops in Maine, which you know, I'm in regular conversations with the general manager at Good Turn, with the general manager at Rising Tide, with the general manager down at the Portland Co-op. So, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities there for what we could do, how we could change the food system, and then once we do that, you know, there's nothing but opportunity there for where we could go.
That's great. Well, we'll always be the oldest co-op, right?
Yeah.
We may not always be the biggest because Portland's moving along. How close are we to being the biggest?
Right now we're still the biggest.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Portland is growing, right?
Yeah. I mean, they've exceeded all of their goals. In their first year, they exceeded their sales goal and their membership goal. So I think that, you know, Portland, that community was really strong, really wanted that co-op, and it's a really great success story for cooperatives in the state of Maine.
Well, just personally, as a resident of Belfast and been here for, like I said, before even the co-op got going, I think one of the biggest intangibles, and it's not about being a member, but it's about like what the co-op means to be. It helps make Belfast what Belfast is. People move to this area because we have such a vibrant co-op.
Yeah.
When you go shopping at the co-op, you can kind of see a really diverse group of interesting people who are not only working in the store but also shopping here. It's almost like, you know, with the cafe, you've got this wonderful gathering place, and I know that people come here just to, you know, to have informal groups of learning to speak Spanish together and things like that. So there's so many wonderful things about this almost being like a community center and not just a shopping experience. And to me, that is one of the great strengths of this place, is that it's almost like an anchor to what makes Belfast Belfast. So I'm really thrilled that the co-op is here, and I know it's celebrating its 40 years. But I look forward to the next 40 years, and just hope you guys figure out all the little niches you need to exploit so that you're always on, you know, offering something wonderful and unique that makes people want to shop here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've told this story to tons of people, that when my wife and we moved here from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where I worked at a co-op for 10 years, and when we decided that it was time for us to leave the city, we were looking around at places in Maine that we could move, because my wife's from New England and we both really enjoy it. And the single thing that we were looking at when we were initially making our decisions about where we thought about moving, we were looking for communities that could support a co-op, or that were supporting a co-op, because it's a different thing. When a community comes together to support a co-op the way that Belfast has, that says a lot about the community. It says a lot about the values. It says a lot about, you know, people's openness to radical ideas. It says a lot about the people that make up that community. So, yeah, it's an exciting place and an exciting time to be a cooperator. Yeah.
All right, so I've been speaking with Doug Johnson, the manager of the Belfast Co-op, and as you know, it's celebrating its 40th year this year. I hope